can mention that as well. So welcome everyone to today's case study. We got Adam here. It looks like we're recording a podcast, but really it's a case study of his success with the kinetic method in the past 90 days. And he's going to share with us a little bit more about where he was before and where he is right now. So Adam, good to have you on.
Yeah, I know where to start. A few months ago, I told you I wanted to work with you, and I was pretty sure, but I was scared. I was like afraid that it was going to be that I was going to let myself down. I don't like to fail. I hate failing. I hate being embarrassed, and so I'm like, I want to do it, but I don't know if it'll work. But if I do try to get the result that I'm looking for, I think I need to be with Mauro. So I had tried a lot of other things. I had tried fasting. I had tried intermittent fasting. I had tried CrossFit. I had tried mountain biking many times. I had tried to go to the gym by myself. There's a lot of things that I've benefited from while working with you that really changed things. But in the beginning, I really thought, like, what could he teach me that I don't know? I've seen YouTube. I've followed this. I've heard of nutritionists. My CrossFit coach knows paleo or whatever it is, right? And like, I'm not sure what it is, but there was a couple of things that drew me to you. And it was, the blood test that is going to help optimize our own body's hormones, and the accountability. But one of my favorite things, two more things, the 30-minute workout seemed easy. And my favorite part, though, is that you mentioned that I would have an app that told me my workouts. And so I'm like, I'll do it. Like, I'm sure it's going to work. I'll follow the app. That'll make it easy. I like CrossFit, to be honest, because you go there and you see everyone else suffering and you're like, okay, I've got to work harder. And I haven't liked bodybuilding type workouts because it was boring. You were there by yourself, maybe with a partner. And I thought that I'd have to be there for 2 hours. But one thing that I loved is your app lets me like see what I got last time. So I can just do one more rep or just do 5 more pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly feel like that's one of the most effective parts is the app, where it's 1 more rep, 5 more pounds. Let me just try to do it with these dumbbells today. So that was really effective. And I'll say one last thing. I was pretty confident, or else I wouldn't have spent the money. I was pretty confident in you and with me eventually that I could keep it going and I could do it with your help and your accountability. But if you remember, Mauro, do you remember that thing that I said to you? I was like, you have to take, I saw the 2 belt sizes out and I had a fairly small waist, around a 34. I didn't think it was getting any smaller. I had done fasting for 5 days in a row, many weeks in a row, and never got a smaller waist. So I told you, I was like, I'll join, but you got to take that out of the contract because you're going to lose. I couldn't lose 2 inches off a 34-inch waist. I'm already skinny, right? And I was like, just put in that I'm going to get 6-pack. So you obliged, which is freaking cool. Thank you. But the interesting thing is I lost 3 belt sizes. I went from a 34, a 33 and a half to 34. 34s were comfy, to where I think I could probably fit in a 30. I think I could put a 30 on just fine. I've bought 32s, and when I pull the waist to look, it has so much room. Like it's got at least 2 inches. So I basically went from a 34 to a 31. So I got 3 belt sizes smaller, and I never thought that was possible. So you could have just kept that in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, and thank you for sharing this. This really good. Good insight here. and with what you thought that may not be possible. If you remember back, like, I think it was close to a year ago, like our mutual friend, Ryan Nickel, he made like a before and after post where he was jumping from that cliff and he had like a really big belly. And then on the other side, he had like the abs, and there were tons of people who reached out there. And I think a little bit later, you reached out, or no, actually Ryan introduced the two of us to each other. And when you reached out, you the first time, or when we the first time we chatted, I think you said something like, I don't think I need the abs. Remember, it's like, I don't need the abs. And then you went like, you didn't ghost me, but you're like, nah, I'm doing my thing there and it's okay. And then I followed up later, 2-3 months later, or 1 month later, I can't remember the timeline. And it was similar, like, I don't need the apps. I'm like, yeah, Adam, you're right. You don't need them. You don't need a house. You don't need a car. You only need water, a little bit of food, and a roof over your head. But that's not how you got the success you have today in business, right? And then Adam was blank the first time. I was like, okay, maybe he got offended, maybe he got pissed off. So, and then you came back, you're like,
I was pissed.
okay.
Bro, I was mad. I almost didn't work with you. I'm like, F this guy. He's calling me out on my bullshit. And I had to self-reflect and be my own therapist to figure out where this was coming from. And it was me. I feel like I have tears coming because this is deep. Like, this is really where I was. I was asking myself, is it his fault? Like, is he mad at me, or is he trying to help me? You know, I was pissed. And I told my sweetheart at the time, like, I was at her house. I'm like, the nerve of this guy, you know, calling me out on my BS. And
What did she say?
She was a little bit more pragmatic than I was, a little bit more level-headed, a little bit more understanding. And she's like, well, do you want it or do you not? And I'm thinking, like, honestly, I do want it. And I lied and said I didn't want it because what was really feeling is I didn't think that I could get it. I didn't think that I had what it takes. I didn't think that it was going to be easy. I thought that I might fail. And I felt like the best way to protect myself from trying something, spending money, I thought the best way to protect myself from trying and failing was to just get mad at you. You know what I mean? So that's what I did. I was super pissed for like 5 or 10 minutes. And I don't remember if it was the same night or the very next morning that I reached out to you and I was like, bro, I'm in. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I'm not sure if, I think it was like 1-2 days later, or a few days. Yeah, but I was actually mad at you. Not mad because you didn't buy or anything. It's like, dude, if you want to join or not, there are so many people on the waiting list. Like, if you don't want to join, then don't join. You know, that's okay. It was more like, man, you've got such a good foundation. Like, you're putting in the work. You know, you have so much willpower to do a 5-day fast, which is crazy. And you're doing CrossFit, you're biking, you do all that stuff. So there's like a massive effort, but there's no ROI, at least for what you want, right?
Yeah.
Fucking mosquito. And then I was like, man, I was not mad in this, again, not mad in that way, more like, you could have it so much easier with so much less effort if you just focused on the right things that I would tell you, and you would have the results. Like, instead of saying I don't want it, by now you would have it. And that's what I saw in you. Like, I saw the potential, like, but you know, I can't change it. And then yeah, and then something changed. You're like, all right, I'm in. And then the journey began. So
Yeah.
that was good.
I had just spent a lot of money for me on a roof and for one of my rentals, and another one of my tenants passed away, which is first time that has ever happened to me. And so I had to rework her whole place. And I just got back from Hawaii, and we spent a lot of money while we were there. We had fun. We did everything that we wanted to do, and I was like, I'm not sure if like now's a good time to buy this. My business was spending a lot of money. So I remember I was like, I'm all the way in, but give me a couple of days to see if I can afford it. And it worked out where we were fine. But I was nervous. I was actually kind of nervous, like spending the money at the time because I had just spent so much prior to it. But man, best use of that money and time than ever. It's changed every part of my life. I'm happier, I'm healthier, I have a lot more confidence. You, can I say one thing? It's random, and I think this
Go
is going to
ahead.
be impactful for anyone listening. I was the person who saw others wearing tank tops or shirtless and thinking all they wanted to do was show off. I had a negative attitude if they had a tank top or a shirtless, that they were prideful, asshole, arrogant sons of bitches, and it really bothered me. And what I found, that's not really the case. I was just embarrassed about having my shirt off. And I was like blaming it on them. Now I take my shirt off all the time. Like I was at my family reunion this weekend, and with some extended family, and we were playing some game, pickleball. And I had my shirt on for the most part until pickleball. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I want to get a suntan, so I'm just going to take off my shirt. And I didn't think that much of it. It's just that I wasn't embarrassed to take off my shirt, so I wasn't hiding my gut because I didn't have a gut. I have six-pack abs now. So like I took off the shirt, and my extended family was like uh, gasping, like, whoa, oh my gosh. Because a lot of them have known me for a long time. Some of them I was just meeting because it was like some extended family. But I got comments like, I would take my shirt off too if I looked like that. And it was interesting because I think that's how I always would have been. I would have always taken, I always want the extra vitamin D. I always want the non-restriction of sleeves. I always want that. I want to have a tan, so I feel like I look better if have a little bit darker tan, that color. And I always was judging people for doing it because I thought they were just bragging or trying to be arrogant or show off. And really what it was is I was just embarrassed because I had a gut. I was healthy. Like you said, I was literally mountain biking up to 12 times in a week, not in a month, but I mean, I would mountain
Wow.
bike like in the morning, my lunch break, and in the evening. I would do CrossFit 3 or 4 days a week. And I wasn't seeing results. I was healthy. I mean, I was active. I had good cardiovascular. I had good strength, but nothing I did could show those abs. And so I never had my shirt off.
A lot of work, man. How many years did you try it on your own?
Honestly, I'm 28. Well, off and on, right? Off and on. Like when I was in my 20s, I was working out. I threw out my back lifting. I was shoulder shrugging 700 pounds, and I tweaked my back, and I was out for um, like a year from being able to work out. I was in a wheelchair and stuff. Um, and so off and on. But when I moved to Conifer, it was 2016. I was in okay shape. I had been doing CrossFit for a while. but I didn't, there was no gym that I wanted to go to. I didn't see a CrossFit gym around here. And I always thought the bodybuilding gyms were boring. Like I couldn't do it because it didn't keep me interested. There was no one suffering next to me. So I didn't have the motivation. But to be honest, I mean, I was doing that from 2018, 2019, 2020, when I started doing more mountain biking because I still wanted to exercise every day. But the mountain biking was good because it was getting me outside. But I would do during the spring, summer, and fall, I'd mountain bike generally at least once a day. And so I did that to answer your question for 2 years, probably, of mountain biking and working out at the gym as much as I could, but mountain biking a lot. And so let's just say my whole life. I mean, I always wanted results. I always thought I was doing what was right. I always worked hard. I just didn't get the results until working with you for 12 weeks. 12 weeks.
What a shortcut.
12 weeks. I made, just in case anyone's listening or watching and doesn't know this, I didn't look that good. I was healthy enough, but I did not look very good. And had a bigger waist, I guess, which I didn't even know at the time until I lost all the inches. And I made an outlandish claim that I was going to have it done by my birthday. And so, so basically I had 3 months. I had 3 months to go, and we crushed it. On June 5th, the day before my birthday, I got professional photos. And it's just mind-boggling to see this guy up against the fence with his arms up, and you just see these six-pack abs. And another huge benefit is the difference of how I used to work out, mostly for strength, not for hypertrophy, but mostly just to be strong. Your workouts allowed me to grow the muscle. So I've got shoulder muscles that I never had. Here's the truth. While I was doing all that and working really, really hard, I had a picture of me in a tank top in New Orleans for Jazz Fest. I'm 41 years old. In this picture, my arms made me look like I was about 55 years old. They were just sagging. They were just like, the skin wasn't tight. I was just loose, and I was, I looked like I was about 55. My arms did. And I feel like I look like I'm 20 now, still 41. But now that I've worked out with you and done your stuff and done the flies that I never would have thought to do, the bicep curls that I never did, the shoulder press that I rarely did, working out with higher reps than 1, 2, or 3 reps at a time. My arms look like, I look like a 20-year-old. I don't think I'm exaggerating. Like, I look in the mirror, I look at pictures of me, and I'm like, dang, man, I used to look old. Like, my face is about the same, but my arms looked like I was 55. Now they look like I'm 25.
Yeah, part of it is, and it's amazing, like that you see that and not just focus on like the scale or the looks in terms of the leanness, but the overall big picture, right? Like your jawline is more visible, so you feel more manly. Your skin is different. It's, part of it is also when you came, like you were doing like these water fasts, like just water for 5 days, and you weren't eating that many carbs. And now with the carbs, your muscles are more filled with water, and that will tighten up the skin, right? So it's funny, so many guys like you come and say like they're always so afraid of the carbs, but really, like, when you don't eat them, not in every case, but in many cases, It's it just makes you look years older, like you have saggy skin and everything, and then you eat them, it's like, wow, like I can still lose fat, maybe even faster, but like I'm starting to turn back the clock of time, right?
For me, I've had many friends who've gotten into keto, paleo, and things like this, and their big thing is net carbs, no rice, no alcohol, no sugar, no bread. And I certainly, like, I had been practicing that for a couple of years. And I was mad at you. Like, in a way, I was like frustrated that you were trying to tell me I had to eat carbs because, like, I was brainwashed that I didn't, that I was supposed to not have them. I'm like, why is he trying to make me eat carbs? I don't need carbs. I just, why don't I can just get any calories? Um, and so that was the one thing that I did grudgingly. Everything that you told me, I was like, I took as gospel. Everything that you told me. But the fact that I had to eat 135 grams of carbs, or now you have me eating like 270 grams of carbs, uh, uh I was like, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna do that. But I'm like, I told this guy that I was gonna do it his way, so I'm just gonna go. And if it's not working at the end, I'll just fast. I'll just get off the carbs. But I was like, I told him I would do it, so I put it, I put 100%. Like, I was hitting macros that you had me do 9 out of 10 days. And if on the 10th day I didn't, then I would find a way to make up for it by switching some things. And I was hitting my workouts like 4 out of 5, 5 out of 6 times. I would hit them on the right day, or I would maybe do CrossFit. But I stayed to your plan nearly exactly, every part. Like, the steps to my best of my ability, the 3 workouts instead of 4 or 5 to the best of my ability, the carbs, even though I was afraid of them, and everybody, including myself, says I look better than I've ever looked. That was my goal. My goal for 41 years old was to look better than I looked when I was 26, right before I threw out my back doing that 700-pound shoulder shrug. And that was my goal because that was the best I ever thought that I looked. And I did your stuff, and I do absolutely look better, like, even than then. Uh, it's incredible. Like, I'm so massively grateful, and don't know why I waited. Don't know why I did it the wrong way for so long, other than just brainwashing, listening to the wrong people. Uh, I mean this in a way that it gets me emotional. Like, Morrow changed my life, like, I really, in every way, confidence, health, wellness, strength, just relationships, my own business, my own kids. Morrow, right before I hired you, I thought that I looked pretty good. And I asked my kids, don't I look good? And my 10-year-old, he might have been 9 at the time, 9 or 10, he said I was fat. I didn't believe it. Like, I was like brainwashed. I was like, no, I'm not fat. Why would you say that? I'm not fat. And he's like, no, you're kind of fat, Dad. And when I had the 6-pack, I wanted to be validated to my own son. So I took off my shirt and I go to Anderson, the younger one, and I'm like, hey, do I still look fat? He goes, no, you look great. You have a 6-pack. And I'm like, you don't think I look fat? I'm like double checking, like, emotional about this. He's like, no. And I'm like, thank God, like, having your kid because they're always going to be honest with you. Having
Hmm.
your
Yeah,
kid
yeah.
go from saying you're fat and 3 months later going to say that I look amazing, that means something. And same with my sweetheart at the time. She was like blown away at the progress and the dedication, but I don't think it's that hard. Like I don't I thought that it was going to be hard. I expected it to be hard, but I think it's like relatively easy. You got to put in the steps. So I got 2 treadmills. I got a treadmill in my office, treadmill at my house because it was snowing. Even like in June, it was snowing still in the city where I live. So I bought 2 treadmills, which are cheap, a few $100. But the point would be that I expected it to be almost impossible. I expected it that I would be, yeah, technically I was in a calorie deficit, but I didn't feel hungry. I didn't feel bad. I wasn't, it felt great because I had the carbs and I felt energetic and I felt strong and I felt like I had enough. And eating healthier foods too, like for example, broccoli. It's almost impossible to eat a lot of like it's almost impossible to eat too many calories of broccoli. Like you could just eat so much and you're never going to like go over on your calories. So eating like a slightly healthier choice was pretty cool. And I remember a couple of times, and I think this is notable. I remember a couple of times when I reached out to you and I'm like, is this okay? And you're like, yes. And I'm like, but some of this food isn't that good for you. And you're like, you're hitting the calories, you're seeing results. Don't stress about that right now. Don't worry about this choice to this choice. You're going to be fine. And that was a relief because I would have done anything that it takes, to be honest. I would have just done anything. I was all in. But knowing that I could make a choice to eat bread or rice or, like cake every now and again, um, whatever it is, knowing that like I can have that. I can find a way to eat um, salted caramel chocolates. I can find a way to have that fit, and it's fine without restrictions. That was a meaningful part to me. I always thought it was badass when I uh, I found a way to be able to eat anything that I want. I like found a way
To
to
cheat the
fit it into the
system.
calories
Uh-huh.
and be fine.
Yeah.
I
I
I
mean, not
I
cheat the
will say
system, to hack the system.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did 5 cheat meals in 13 weeks. Just in case anyone's listening, I still got results when I had 5 massive cheat days. Maro knows that these aren't small cheat days, but I was very consistent, but there was 5 times that I had like insane amounts of calories and
One was with me when you came to visit me.
one was in Mexico.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
one
4,000 calorie dinner.
yeah, just one meal. Um
Yeah.
so it's just fantastic that it worked and now these principles stay with you and the confidence stays with you. Where the confidence was, the poor confidence came not necessarily with how I looked as much. It was there, to be honest. I didn't want to go shirtless, but it was like I kind of believed that I couldn't do it, so I was nervous about that. But then seeing it work, and now actually a lot of my friends that have seen my post and my progress are members of your community, and they're getting results also. And I remember telling them when they asked me, I'm like, dude, it's so much easier than you think. Like it looks hard, it looks crazy, but just join because uh, it's not that hard. And a couple of them, I told them, stay in touch with me. And so a couple of them have been like reaching out to me and telling me their progress along the way. and they're just so happy that they're part of it. So that makes me really happy. You know, it makes me really happy. It's not just me. It's not just Ryan who brought me in, but it's also like my friends who are at different levels and different ages. Some of them are in their 60s, some of them are in their 40s, some of them are in their 50s, and they're joining your program and seeing great results. And that makes me happy. I like the free month of coaching. I don't mind that at all. But really, what I like the most is feeling confident that it's going to benefit their life like it did with mine, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, it's beautiful when you can give something to someone and you know, like it will help them just as it did with you, and just share that feeling, you know.
Yeah.
What I'm really curious. You said you didn't believe you could lose the 2 belt sizes, get six pack lean. At what point did you believe, all right, this works, it will happen? It's not anymore if, it's just when. How many weeks? Will it be before my birthday, a week after? Like, when did you know, okay, when did the switch change and you know, okay, this was it?
Well,
Mhm.
there's a couple of pieces that made a difference. And the first one was the day that I decided to make the investment. That that day I was like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen no matter what, and I know that it's going to be better with Maro's help. I'm I know that he's going to help me with things that I couldn't do on my own. I'm going to learn things. I'm going to have better techniques at things. And so that was the first day that switched. I don't know if you recall, like my confidence level that day that I would have the six pack by my birthday no matter what, it was 100%. Like I knew. Um, However, faith is always wavering. It doesn't matter if it's a religious thing or in ourselves or our abilities or if something's going to work. If it was all up, it would be surprising. So, like, I questioned, he's having me eat carbs, so this isn't going to work. You know, I uh, I was questioning, he only has me going to the gym 3 days a week. Why can't I do 4 days a week, 5 days a week? Like, let's get it faster. I don't want to fail. Um, so that was stuck to me most of the time. But about 6 to 8 weeks, I don't remember the date. We can look at the pictures, but about 6 to 8 weeks, I was feeling really good. I was feeling healthy. I was feeling strong because of those carbs and just hitting the macros and dialing it in and walking. I didn't do the walking for the first time. I mean, this is thing that's important. I didn't put in the 10,000 steps for a couple of weeks. It might have been 3 weeks, give or take. And you reached out and you're like, Adam, you've got to put in the steps. And I was like, no, I'll just cut the calories. Adam, keep the calories where they are. You got to get your steps. No, I'll just do the calories. I don't have time for those steps. It's freezing outside. I don't have a treadmill. Adam, the steps are going to be one of the biggest things for you. So I was like, whatever, I'll do it. I'm grudgingly doing it. So from that time, let's just pretend it's about 3 weeks in that I got serious about the steps. About 3 to 4 weeks later, I started seeing my abs. I felt way better than I had ever felt in my life. I mean, for years and years and years. Felt pretty good when I was in junior high running track and field. But other than that, for the most part, in my adult life, um, and I was like, dude, this guy's a effing badass. Everything that he says works. And so that was kind of a turning point. Maybe about halfway to the six pack, about let's give or take like 6 weeks after starting, and I had been walking for like 3 weeks, and it was like making big changes in me and how fast I was cutting and how good I looked and how good I felt. That was a turning point, because at that 6-week mark or so, I was like, I don't care if Mauro tells me to, I'm a straight man. I don't care if Mauro says I got to go kiss a guy. I'll do it. I don't care. Anything he says turns to gold. So I'm going to do that. So that was like, it doesn't matter what you say. I'm like, everything has worked so far. I was seeing the results, and it's like, I just got to do this. I just got to do this fully. Oh, and by the way, I'll say, cause what's the word for it? Um, what is it? I'm a skeptical person of many things. That's why magic works so well on me. But I'm generally a skeptic. And so hopefully nobody else wastes their time doing what I did. But most of the things you told me to do, I would look at like 30 YouTube videos on to get the pros and cons and to get everybody's thoughts on stuff. Um, but after that date, after the day that I saw that much results, I was like, anything that he says, I don't care what he tells me to do. I'll drink my own urine if Mauro says that I need to do that. It doesn't even matter anymore, because it's obviously working. There's no question that I'm going to hit this. I'm going to hit this on time. And I gotta stop arguing in my own head and questioning and double checking and being skeptical. I just got to do it. I just got to like follow with the plan perfectly.
Nice. Thanks for the feedback. And also, I think it's helpful for the people watching and listening, what we can listen or hear between the lines to what just Adam said. Like, the belief grows over time, right? It's not like it's like with the car, you go from point A to point B, and you may not see the end where you're driving, but you can see, I'm going to the next curve and the next curve. And when you know the GPS gets you there, maybe you see like a sign, oh, this is the direction I'm going. Like, all these small steps, these micro steps add up to bigger steps, and that will form like the snowball of belief. And when it gets rolling, then you've got really good momentum, like Adam. So I have one last question for you.
Sure.
For anyone watching this who may have been skeptical like you, sitting on the fence, like, should I do it? Can I do it on my own? Can I do, cardio, or like you did, like the 12 mountain bike sessions, water fast, keto, whatever? What would you recommend them? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe a couple things. First and foremost, I would dive in quickly, because it is actually a waste of your time to try it without, without Mauro, without a great coach, without that accountability, without that proven system. It's proven with the guy who brought me in. It's proven with me, and it's already being proven with people that I've shared this with. So number one, I would scare you by saying it's not going to work doing it on your own. Like, you're going to waste your time. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to have your feelings hurt. It's a better route to just hire Mauro. He knows what he's doing. So that's first and foremost. The second thing that I'll say, if somebody's on the fence, is in my experience, and I think in probably most of your clients' experience, it's actually an easier plan than I anticipated. It actually is not hard. Like, I expected maybe I'd have to be in the gym 2 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's very easy to go to the gym 3 times for 30 to 40 minutes. That's simple. So if you're questioning it because you think you can do it on your own, it's way easier with Mauro. Way easier. I have years of experience to prove that. And if you're questioning it because You think that it's going to be overwhelming and too difficult, too challenging for you. I found it to be sustainable and comfortable and fun.
It's good. Yeah, perfect. So you heard it from Adam, guys, not from me, trying to arm wrestle or convince you, but the man himself. And you can choose whether or not you listen to his advice or maybe not. And if not, that's fine. And if yes, then that's fine as well. So Adam, thank you so much for this great case study call. We should have streamed it live on Facebook, but it's fine. I will upload it. It was really good. And yeah, I think the fun part was really with the 2 belt sizes where you messaged me, hey man, take that out of the contract. I don't think I need to drop that much. And it's like, oh, I actually dropped 3 belt sizes. So
Yeah, mind-boggling. When you lose your love handles, like I thought my waist was like kind of small, but I did have love handles and they looked kind of gross, and I'm so happy that they're gone. But I think that's probably a big factor
yes.
in how I lost 2 belt sizes. Because when I looked down, it didn't seem like when I looked straight down, it didn't seem like I had any inches available. But my love handles were quite large and unsightly. Now without them, I feel like a teenager again, and yeah, that's probably where it came from. And I never expected that. I never realized that it could come off of my back and my sides.
Mm-hmm.
So
Most people don't see their back, right? They don't look at it, but that's where like a lot of the fat, yeah, it's just hanging.
yeah, so you're saying thank you for the case study. I'm saying thank you from the bottom of my heart for changing my life. So thank you.
Thank you for your trust and doing the work. Won't happen without your work.
100%.
So awesome.
Cheers.